All right. So, speaking of someone who's going to need some long form content, and I'll leave the puns there, Diddy got himself into a situation. I don't know if he's going to get out of it. A lot of people are, I mean, what's the Deadpool on Diddy these days? I'm sure there's Vegas bets. I'm sure that could be a product placement for one of those ad companies. By the way, occasionally people have to step away from their desk, and occasionally there's a product placement that sneaks through just because, you saw Jesse advertising gambling doesn't mean we advocate gambling. I think we're already gambling with saying we're going to do something other than learn about those who are trying to oppress and enslave us. I think that's a real gamble. So if you don't have a long enough attention span to skip an inadvertent product placement for someone else whose work we're highlighting, then you can outgrow that. It's easy. You could do it. We have faith in you and your ability to learn. All right, in this section, we're going to learn about Johnson's baby oil and the creative uses thereof, as well as some RICO filings and kidnapping and sex trafficking and rape and all the other things that YouTubers can't say in their broadcasts. Like we just say it because we're not dependent on YouTube for any type of revenue or even views. I mean, because they don't like this show. So we could speak freely here. This next section is probably not safe for work because you're going to be learning about things. Also, I included this law and crime segment on Diddy just because it was fun to hear such like an official place have to talk about like sex toys and lube and stuff like that. I thought it was funny. So what's not funny is the victims of Mr. Diddy, and he might be deserving of these barbaric conditions we're going to learn about. In between, there's a little cartoon. It's called This Is Why Diddy Was Arrested. If you know enough about the story, I think it was actually well composed. It's not Freedom Tunes. It's a whole different flavor camp of Freedom Tuned Idge in a different way from a different creator. The creator's called Cartoon Tutor Baby, Babi, Bobby, Babby. I don't know. We'll learn more. We're going to learn more in this block. This is the last block of tonight's show. This is the Diddy block. Let's check it out. No Diddy.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honig. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
Abby, at the moment, we don't know what the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week. And here's a statement that I have from his attorney. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He goes on to say that he is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, better known as the singer, her stage name, Cassie. Now, up until this point, when we broke this video, Diddy had denied the allegations against him. Cassie is one of 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which he is accused directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials, and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
And Ellie, not a huge amount of information available tonight, but Elizabeth brought up something that I want you to give us a little bit of insight into. Diddy is here in New York, in Manhattan. He apparently came here in anticipation that something like this might happen. What should we understand about what that might mean? It could very well be that this is a federal arrest being processed here in New York.
So, Abby, there are some important things we do not know, including the specific charges that have been lodged against Sean Combs. But there are some really important things we do know. First of all, based on the attorney's statement, based on our reporting, this is a federal prosecution. It's not a state prosecution. The fact that he's being processed in Manhattan tells me that's the Southern District of New York. That's consistent with the reporting that the Southern District of New York had been handling this case. That's the office I used to work at. That's an office that sort of specializes in high-stakes cases. Just in the last year or so, Southern District of New York, just as an example, has successfully prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried, Senator Robert Menendez. The other thing that we do know is a grand jury has indicted Sean Combs, meaning they found probable cause that he committed at least one federal crime. Now, as to what happens next, there will be, likely tomorrow or within the next couple days, but usually in the SDNY, you try to do it the next day, there will be an arraignment, meaning Sean Combs will appear in court with his lawyers. There are no cameras in federal court. He will be advised of the charges against him, and he will almost certainly enter a not guilty plea. But the key thing to watch for is then we'll have the question of bail. Will prosecutors agree to let him out on bail? Will prosecutors ask the judge to lock him up pending trial? That could end up in a contentious argument. So these are things that are going to play out over the next 24 or 48 hours. And finally, Abby, with respect to the charges themselves, it's important to note, we've all seen that video, but assault and sexual assault are not federal crimes. Those are prosecuted in state court. So what I expect to see when we see this indictment is some sort of crime with some element of organization to it, sex trafficking, something along those lines, if it's based on some of the allegations we've heard.
And of course, back in March, his homes in LA and in Miami were raided. All of this leading up to this moment. Elizabeth and Ellie, a lot more to this story will be coming up in the coming days and weeks.
Hey, Cat Williams, what kind of advice you got for me, man?
My goal was to get this far in Hollywood and still have a virgin asshole and never have sucked a penis.
Oh, wow.
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
Diddy, my birthday already passed.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
I ain't really the partying type, family.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
And he go, when he do it, he says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. He said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Hey, man.
Cat told me not to party with Diddy, but he would never say why not. Then 50 say he offered to take him shopping, and 50 got mad. Seemed to me like Diddy a generous dude.
You gotta tell him no.
All right, 50. Hey, Cat Williams, hit me up later, dog. Hey, Diddy, for some reason, 50 and Cat really do not want me to party with you.
There has been negative propaganda put out about me that's not true and has really tried to stain my legacy.
But it seemed like everybody's saying the same thing, though, Diddy. Hey, gang, I know you done partied with Diddy before.
I ran around with Diddy for 2 years, damn near. And we never went to the studio one time, but he was like, yo, hey, Playboy, hey, here go a watch, Playboy, here go a chain, Playboy. I'm like, yo, we ever gonna rap?
Bro, what y'all was doing for 2 years if y'all ain't go to the studio, family?
We used to wake up and we used to actually wrestle over the Frosted Flakes.
We was just partying, man. Puff like the party.
So what really be going down at them wild ass parties, Diddy? For real.
So it's going to be a teaching moment of love.
A teaching moment of love? Diddy, you ain't undercover, is it?
Yeah, man. And not being just full out, but hiding and trying to pretend like he, loves girls. Really, he's a man fan.
And my is thinking you just generous. Yeah, you generous, alright. You was coming on to me.
Hey, man.
Step out the car, folks.
I would have been
swallowed up? Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming?
Hey, what's a power bottle?
You don't know me, bro. You don't know me, bro.
Soldier, everybody knows you. You've been famous since you're 17.
See, that's the problem with you. You think you know me.
You don't even want to bang your set. That's how I know you's the mark.
That's the police. You the police. You want to go to jail that bad, bro?
I fucked your baby mama the day before your baby shower.
Why did you talk about old shit, bro? What you want, my nigga? You want a cookie? Why you crying about Offset just fucking your bitch?
You wanna know why I did that? Because the bitch get on here topping it, making up lies.
Hey, Blueface, your baby mama at the door, and she got your son with her.
We gonna work this little thing out for the kid, like, you know, like, okay, like do things together, get the house together.
Bye. That baby looks nothing like me.
Like, why is you my baby father, yo? And then
that's Charles Barkley, baby. That's the nigga from down the street, baby. Come on, cuz.
Right now, we in the jet. We are on our way, and we bring them nothing but love and positive vibes.
Just in Shreveport news, Puff Daddy's homes have just been raided by the feds. But it appears that Diddy is on his private jet, leaving his kids behind.
Wow, that bitch left his kids and all. Man, them allegations must be true type shit.
I've been saying this the entire time.
Did he do it? I know you lying. Diddy calling you 50?
Please, God told me to ask y'all for help. I need your help. I can't do it alone. I'm overwhelmed. I'm crazy.
Everything that you know is a lie. We wasn't messing with nobody.
You gotta tell him no.
Hey, ask him, did he knock off Tupac?
I'm doing God's work.
And we all guilty of it.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I just had a 3.5 hour cry.
What the f*** is the matter with this nigga?
I like when you like this, Daddy. Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping. I like that.
This is a prepaid collect call from
Brother Love, come show some love.
an inmate vest.
Love is in the building. Take that.
He a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement and don't let them eat and don't let them out. I hog tied her. Quit playing.
And I want to just tell you how proud I am of you. Sometimes you have to really go with that decision in your gut. And in my gut, I was like, you need to get on the plane. And God told me, it's time. And we needed to have a story that had a happy ending.
So they actually got a tape of Diddy busting up Meek Mill. Bro, you gotta be playing. Man, Puffy the real booty warrior, dog.
They actually taped it. Meek Mill's is like Puffy.
Man, this shit is getting wild. Is we really going to the Caribbeans to help Diddy though?
I don't give a f about him, period.
So you really going way out there to turn him in? Man, you the pettiest nigga alive, Phil.
I'm not petty. I'm a sophisticated petty.
Man, I appreciate you for letting me smoke this gas on the jet too, family. You want to hit this? No Diddy.
I'm high as a motherfucker, and I ain't even smoking this shit.
Dream chasers, I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy. Real street nigga forever. Your God is good. I changed my name to Love. Love is my real name. That's what it says on my driver's license. That's my official name, Love. Take that.
There go Brother Love and Usher right there.
Sean Diddy Combs, you need to come with us. You're under arrest for sex trafficking.
Take that. Ain't nothing stopping this. We want it all.
Speed up. You're losing them.
I'm trying, dog, but when you go over 60 miles an hour and the Crown Vic, it starts shaking. So Diddy managed to get away in the Caribbean islands, and now we been hearing he back in his old stomping grounds, Miami.
Let's have an act of love.
I feel like you single where we go together.
So you think the tip we got legit?
Yeah, man.
How you think this gonna end, though? I brought YB with us because I know shit could get real.
Aren't you on house arrest?
You think I give a fuck, freak these dogs?
Oh, there go Puffy and the Diddy gang right there walking out the building. Let's get them.
They got shame in their game. We don't have no shame in our game.
Puffy, give it up. We have you and the Diddy gang surrounded.
And don't try nothing stupid. We got Young Boy with us. We outnumbered, Fifth. You got a scrap on you, YB?
It's 4K Trey. We taking his way in.
Curtis, what's good, man? You and your feelings about Daphne? And she would gang them? However it go, I want you to fade, nigga. I'm calling you out. What you want to do, Curtis? Curtis!
Puffy was playing with your booty in Miami.
Wanting to fight 50 and not denying getting busted up by Diddy is crazy.
Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, all you fake hard niggas, fuck you. I don't give a fuck because you can't shoot nobody anyway, and the reason why you got chalk is because you did a deal, you fucking fed.
I heard that you are going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. It's going to happen.
Call me Bubbles.
Oh, Rick Ross done up that iron on us.
It's Bubbles.
YB, you know what to do.
I bet.
Fuck, he done got away. The dealer did it again.
If you fuck with me, let it be known. Because I'm going to this next era and I'm lining up all the allies. But if you don't fuck with me, be quiet, and I will take your silence as you don't fuck with me.
I just be giving it up. You heard me? I'm just gonna give it up to you and let you have it.
Meek Mill, you ever been mind before?
Yeah, I get violated all the time.
I'm f***ing you right now. Can you feel my in your mind?
I'm a boss, and I need a cheeseburger. I made it clear. Make me a dozen cheeseburgers now. Do it.
I've never seen my man doing anything foul like they talking about. And then it's like with guys like 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to fight, don't talk about me.
So this the Illuminati house? We got some reinforcement now. We should be able to catch the diddler this time.
Meek Mill's a punk. When I ran into him finally, I wanted to punch him.
YB, I need to get on your neck so I can look through the window, bitch.
I ain't did that. Stop playing. What's wrong with you? No Diddy. Take that. Take it.
If somebody shoot me, then it's f*** they whole block.
It's time to shut this party down and charge all them with a Frico case. Freeze! You all under arrest for being too goddamn freaky. Don't nobody make any sudden movements.
Y'all heard what the man said. Y'all booty bandits going down.
Y'all gonna let him throw dirt on the God's name?
I'm sorry it had to come to this tutor, baby.
What you talking about? We finally caught the dealer. That's a good thing.
That's the thing. I'm part of the Diddy gang now.
What the fuck?
You suck out your black eye.
So the Illuminati paid you off, huh, detective?
50, I actually liked you. But Kanye, you talk too fucking much. Throw the cuffs on him.
Go and put your hands behind your backs for me.
Man, how the f you let this happen, 50? F around with you. I don't even know why we chasing Diddy down in the first place.
He said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me he'd take me shopping.
Man, that's what this about. You really know how to hold a grudge, bitch.
Man, Diddy, he a sick motherfucker, homie. Matter of fact, if you want to rap, you have to be gay. Let's just put it on out there.
You have a 90 motherfucker walk down the street and said Suge Knight killed Tupac. When everybody know ass Puffy had him shot. Tupac not dead now. You know he's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar.
I'm really a whore. Like, I'm with a W. Like, I'm a whore. Like, I'm a whore.
That's why I f with you, too. You with the shit.
I don't know whatever someone does in their bedroom, that's what they do. I don't got nothing to do with that.
P. Diddy business is P. Diddy business. My take on it is, it's not my business. I don't think it's right at all. And I don't condone it.
And we all guilty of it. Drake, Oprah, Will Smith, Justin Bieber, Kevin Hart, Mark Wahlberg, DJ Khaled.
So, ma'am, are these the men who forcibly ran a train on you at the freak-off? It's okay. Take your time.
Orlando Brown? Why the hell you in here?
Diddy gave me the oosh-gosh goosh-wash, the oosh-gosh mooaf, the swoosh-wash. Yeah, son, I love it, yo.
You know y'all done f***ed up, don't he? Now I got to pin this assault charge on y'all.
Man, you know we ain't do shit. How much they bought your bitch ass for, detective?
50. All you had to do was let Diddy take you shopping. That's all you had to do.
What'd you just say? Fluffy do some like a little fluffy stuff.
You one irritating motherfucker. It was only a matter of time before we dealt with you.
They can't control me. It's up.
All Diddy wanted to do was party with you, cat. What's one party gonna hurt to make all this go away?
Be in Hollywood, you never expected. They be having these big mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms, and you around and look in the wrong room and you gotta tell him no.
All right, y'all free to go.
Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing.
It's Taco Tuesday. Man, them tacos is fire. Oh, shit, wrong flow. Damn, he ain't had to kick her like this.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that.
We're now getting a closer look at the mountains of evidence federal investigators collected at the homes of P. Diddy leading up to his indictment. This includes things like guns, ammunition, electronic evidence, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant. To understand all this and how it relates to Diddy's case, we're hearing from former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News. Major news this week out of New York, where now disgraced rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested and taken into custody. On Monday, a grand jury indicted him on multiple federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Homeland Security took Diddy into custody at the Park Hyatt in New York. According to his legal team, Diddy's been in the city for the past week ahead of these anticipated charges. So Diddy may have had a heads up that these charges were on the way, but it wasn't a complete surprise to the rest of us either. Federal investigators issued search warrants on 2 of Diddy's homes this spring, and that's when experts told us it's not if, but when Diddy will be arrested. We couldn't confirm then that Diddy was the target of the search, but we had a good idea what investigators were looking for: electronic evidence of alleged illegal acts like sexual assault or racketeering. These allegations date back to November of last year, when Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, filed civil suit against Diddy. She laid out some major claims against him, saying over the course of their relationship, Diddy physically and emotionally abused her, forced her to carry illegal weapons, and even made her have sex with prostitutes. The lawsuit was settled outside of court just one day after it was filed, but it was just the start of the wave of lawsuits that Diddy would soon face. Over the next few months, multiple other accusers came forward with civil suits alleging Diddy's pattern of sexual abuse dated back as far as the 1990s. A civil suit filed by Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, brings these accusations into 2024. According to Lil Rod's lengthy suit, Diddy is the kingpin in a gun trafficking, drug trafficking, and sex trafficking scheme. Lil Rod also accused Diddy of sexual assault and echoed Cassie's allegation that Diddy forced him to have sex with a prostitute. Lil Rod's lawsuit includes something else that may have piqued the Fed's interest. He alleges there are hundreds of hours of video and audio recordings of Diddy's illegal behavior. We now know this is what the Feds were searching for on March 25th, when they executed search warrants at Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. At the time, we only speculated that investigators collected electronic evidence, but now we know for sure. According to the indictment against Diddy, investigators seized more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from his home. The court doc states these items were used in something referred to as freak-offs, which were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes, unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. So Diddy's business employees allegedly facilitated these freak-offs by stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from freak-offs, resupplying Combs with the requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial sex workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. So these items were collected during the federal raids, including narcotics and hundreds of bottles of lube and baby oil. There were also electronic files of these freak-offs, and the feds collected those too. In addition to all this, investigators seized AR-15 guns, ammunition, and a large-capacity drum magazine from Diddy's home. Since those raids in March, federal prosecutors have been crafting their case against Diddy, which led to grand jury proceedings against him. So he was indicted on Monday and taken into custody, and on Tuesday, that indictment was unsealed. Also on Tuesday, Diddy appeared in federal court where he pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. During the hearing, Diddy was also denied bail, a federal judge ruling he must remain in custody until trial. With all that in mind, let's take a closer look at what exactly the feds collected from Diddy's homes. For that, we turn to former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder. This indictment that just came down, I know we were kind of expecting it to happen, but when it did, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I had expected, and I'd said before that I thought we'd get an indictment within 6 to 9 months. People weren't happy with me because they thought that was just too long. But it was almost exactly 6 months, actually, since the warrants were served on both of his homes. I think it's not a surprise.
So what are we going to talk about today, Gabrielle? You don't know. We're going to talk about a bunch of grown-ups getting into one place, and then they ingest a bunch of things, and then they're all, let's take our clothes off and let's just see what happens when we start.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because first, you got this going on. Cassie just living it up. She's all, get pictures of me out on the town while Diddy rots in prison.
I mean, good.
And
for her.
then
I love that for her.
I know. And then you got this, though, right? Oops, not this. Oh, not this.
Oh, my.
This. Okay. This one where, oh, no. The New York City czar from the pandemic, he is on hidden camera bragging to what I would assume he thought was going to be a big, crackhead, like tonight, listen, let me tell you about what we did during the pandemic when we took a bunch of drugs and because that's what we're going to do, right? She's all, no, I'm just going to film you and destroy your reputation in your life.
Was this like a Vice thing?
Yeah.
Who was recording it? Was it Vice?
It was Steven Crowder.
Nice.
Yeah. Got him.
During COVID.
Got him.
How dare you, Dr. J. Varma? How dare you?
Got him. I didn't even think about that.
During COVID. He's all, everyone's social distance, except for you lot. We're going to be over here all very close together.
And when you actually see the video, which we will obviously look at, he looks like such a crackhead. It's crazy, dude.
I mean, look at that photo.
No, I know. But I mean, like when he's talking, he's all, I definitely don't prescribe myself that. I don't prescribe myself that. He looks nuts, man.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, listen, dude.
What a world.
If that's what, this is my whole thing with like the Diddy story and this, it's like, if you're just a person who's living your life and you start talking to people, you're all, listen, hey, do you guys by chance like to ingest lots of pharmaceuticals and then enter each other for long periods of time and lots of people watching? And they're all, we do.
Let's be friends.
Let's definitely be friends.
Let's do that together.
We don't want to be like friends, but let's definitely do it together. Yeah. Right? How do you feel about me entering your wife? He's like, I love that idea.
You not say entering.
I mean, we're pretty early in the video, so like you gotta watch what you say.
Yeah.
I love this idea. I absolutely love this idea. I would prefer if you guys were masked, though. I don't want it to be intimate.
Masks would be great.
Yeah.
And sanitize your hands before.
Yeah. Well, I meant masks.
Oh, masks. I was thinking COVID masks.
No, like masks, because I don't want you guys looking into each other's eyes. I don't want this to be intimate.
No, this has turned into like Eyes Wide Shut.
This is pure carnal pleasure.
Wow.
So I don't care if people do that at all. However, if you are this guy who, per his own words in this video, I was responsible for the mandates. Guess what, buddy? You are going on every channel that I have today. I'm doing this one. I'm going to do a live stream later on my channel. I'm going to make sure everyone sees it. Because you know what? People like you took my family away. So good luck with your reputation from here, guy. I'm sure all of your high-end colleagues who looked at you, they're all, well, this guy really has such a high-level, job in the government. He's a really stand-up guy. It's like, no, he's a drug addict deviant, actually.
Yeah.
Crackhead who was not following his own stuff so much so there's like, what's the worst thing you could do? And he's all, let's do that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I literally can't breathe right now.
Why?
I started, well, I told you, I'll tell y'all. I started these like at-home allergy drops that are like allergy shots, but like they're drops. And I started them yesterday and I'm having like a full-on actual allergic reaction.
Wow. That's
so fun for me.
That doesn't seem like a ripoff at all.
But according to them, we'll see. The FDA says that they work just like the shots. So once I go through the treatment, which is like 4 years.
I'm sorry, did you say the FDA says?
I know, I don't trust the FDA, but their FDA.
Dude, look at you being consistent.
Yeah.
Your hair looks very pretty, by the way.
Thanks. It's all parted to the side because I need to wash it. But once you go through this treatment, because your body finally gives up on responding, it's actually the opposite of a vaccine. Vaccines designed to induce an immune reaction. These are designed to have your body stop immune responding. But once it's done, you're supposed to be allergy-free for 10 to 25 years.
Whatever.
So, anyways, I sound like I'm all like puffy and can't breathe, but hopefully it'll be good in 4 years.
I think it's going to be great. It sounds exciting.
I'm so itchy.
All right. So look, Cassie, who you guys, oh, by the way, if you don't want to have any more immune responses, the second you subscribe to this channel, it's over. The FDA said it. That's legit. You subscribe, you click, ring the bell, like when I want notifications, and bang, any kind of medical issue you will ever have is cured for life. It's a joke. It's a joke, YouTube. It was a joke. That's a joke, you guys. But maybe not. You never know.
You can't even say that.
If you subscribe, then maybe you're totally safe forever from everything.
It does help with a lot of stuff, though.
Living life on the outside as Diddy goes back into lockup. By the way, have you guys heard of where Diddy is being held right now?
No.
He's being held in the Brooklyn City Jail. Nice. It is, or Brooklyn Metropolitan. This place is absolute sheer hell on earth. Like, he's already complaining about the conditions because, as he should, like, I don't think people realize how grimy jail actually is. This place is known
I've never been there.
For rats running all over the place, like mold and maggots in the food. Like, it's the worst place on earth. Now, I personally think that this particular jail is especially grimy and gross because they are trying to get people to do anything to get out of there. So they'll like plead guilty or agree to testify, so on and so forth. Not to like completely derail this conversation, but one of the things, like,
we're already all over the place.
I know,
it's fine.
But so like one thing that I've like kind of spent a lot of time reading about is like the mafia history of all that stuff, right? And like starting at a certain point, mob guys started testifying against each other. Now, a lot of that had to do with the amount of time they were facing, right?
Okay.
But still, even like before this all happened, guys would take life sentences and they would never testify ever. I think one of the main reasons, aside from, the time and a lot of other, is that these guys grew up dirt poor, right? And then they became successful for a little while. But then when they went back to jail, it's like, oh, I've lived in squalor before. These people now that grew up kind of nice and then they go to jail, it completely shocks their system to they just are like, it's gonna take a long time to get used to conditions like that. Everyone will can get conditioned to anything. But I think about Diddy in that environment. This guy has lived in the absolute lap of luxury where he's flying private everywhere. He's got yachts, he's got whatever. And then to go to that, just to even stay there for a week is probably unfathomable. And the idea of never getting out of there is, like he might, if I were him, I would be, I don't know, dude. I'm going to end up derailing this conversation and at least a little bit talk about this.
That's fine. We'll just call this video like
Diddy.
ADD rears its ugly head.
No, we'll call it whatever it ends up being about. We'll talk about the COVID czar guy. I don't even care about Cassie. But let me just say this. If I were Diddy, I would seriously consider copping a plea where I take a certain number of years, but I get to dictate what facility I'm in. And like, I want to be in a minimum security, like the kind of, cause like, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street.
I do know him.
So
not personally, but you do.
Yeah, I do. And so when he went inside, this is in his book, but he also told me about it. He's like, dude, it's like camp. He's like, you can't leave, but I have everything you could possibly want. He's like, I have a tennis racket.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a tennis racket that I check in and out every day and I go play tennis.
That's how it was for our friend who was in there too. Like he had a computer and a cell phone and like it was that you're
talking,
sweet.
You're talking about Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, that was like a corrupt facility that ended up getting raided.
Oh, right. I forgot that there was a raid at the end of it all.
The guards got raided. Like the whole facility got shut down by the feds. Nonetheless, he ended up going to Lompoc like for the after that, which is
gross.
It's not gross. It's just a heavy prison.
That's what I mean by gross. Like, no, thank you.
But
oh my God, I can't.
Anyway, but like bottom line is like, if you know, like Bernie Madoff is not in a bad spot, dude. Like the place he is at is kind of nice. It's like
a country club, but you can't leave it,
dude. If you get okay, like let's say that I was 65 years old.
Okay,
my kids are grown. You know, like I don't know. I mean, like if I remove the thought of being away from you guys out of the equation and that horror.
Okay.
And someone's like, okay, look, you're going to live your days out in this place where we're going to serve you half decent food. You know, you're going to be with all the same people. You do have to lock down, but like you get up, you go play cards, you do whatever, but you don't have to worry about anything.
You don't have to work or cook or.
It sounds a lot better than, oh my God, I'm running out of money. I'm retired. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm so terrified. What am I going to do? Like there is a world where like a minimum security prison is not the worst, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
So like if Diddy, right?
Yeah.
If Diddy negotiated, like I'll take this, but I want into that place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the worst move. Is part of what I'm thinking. The other part is I am not convinced that this is a strong case against him. The more I read the indictment, the more I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, you know, I mean,
do you think that they're just like pushing for too heavy of charges? Like they should back off on the charges?
Like, okay, so this is my point
or
about it.
Or do they do that on purpose so that he takes a plea?
Maybe they overcharge, yeah.
Yeah.
But like when I look, like now that I've really looked at the case, it's like. I don't know. It's like, okay, is it a crime to buy a lot of drugs that you're going to, you know, distribute at a party which people have sex in?
Yes.
Yes. Is it that big a deal?
If you do it over and over and over and over and over, yes.
For sex parties?
I think so.
So then we should definitely be locking this guy up too then, right? Like, you know, this guy.
Yeah.
He's on video.
He should be locked up for a lot more than that.
You know, this guy,
he should be locked up for mandating that people can't get within 6 feet of each other and then sliding his naked body all over everyone.
And then he loved the fact that the healthcare heroes lost their jobs.
I think in the case of Diddy, the observation that has not been made by any of the clips that I've seen would be this. First off, Scott, do you remember the guy from like 5 years ago? It was a guy who got caught by the cops and he gave this crazy, like there was like interrogation room CCTV video. And he says a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But if you look at that tape today and what he claimed about Diddy, it seems right in line with all the evidence. So this crackpot guy says this thing 5 years ago. No one pays much attention to it. Sounds like crazy stuff. Cassie does a civil suit. He pays her off right away. Lil Rod, which is an ironic name for this whole genre. Lil Rod, he sees his opportunity. He files a suit, makes all these accusations. And what happens then? That triggers the feds. The FBI is like, holy shit. Diddy has a bunch of Epstein-like footage. We have to figure out a way to raid his house, collect that as evidence, and now the biggest gang gets all the blackmail the smaller gang Diddy had. But it's federal evidence now, just like all of the Epstein footage and all the Blue Suite Plaza Hotel footage from the last couple decades. Are you familiar with any of that?
I guess, okay, so the person in the jail cell, are you saying who I think you're saying? But maybe I'm... Or the person in the interrogation room. The
guy that he walked into Trump...
That's right, LD.
Trump,
Lawrence,
Trump
you're right.
Hotel
You're right. He was
in Florida.
Yes.
I had that. I listened to that clip the other day. I can't find it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe
I had it in the show card someplace. Let me see if I still have it. But the other point that was brought up was this term omerta.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yeah. I read a really good book by Mario Puzo called Omerta.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about Mario Puzo for the after show. But omerta is a Southern Italian code of silence and a code of honor and conduct that places an importance on silence in the face of questioning by authorities, outsiders, or non-cooperation with authorities, the government, or outsiders, especially during criminal investigations. And so that was a thing that went on for a long time, and then they broke it, like in the 1980s. That's kind of the story behind Goodfellas, right? Because he turns a witness and then they get spaghetti with ketchup.
Yeah.
But this is and it is in the history blueprint, and there is a lot of history behind the organized crime and the secret societies, the various mafiosos, the art of assassination. All these things come through omerta. This is what makes it possible. Those assassinations can't happen without omerta. Right? And the secret societies that teach the art of assassination and the art of keeping quiet about those assassinations, which still seems to be a thing to this day. So I just wanted to bring that out as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is obviously turned into a pretty huge situation. Like in one of those, one of the snapshots of a news article, there was these guys wearing HSI jackets. I'm like, what the heck is that? Homeland Security investigation. So this is like Homeland Security, FBI.
When did we first hear about them? They're the people who replaced Secret Service on July 13th, 2024 at the Trump rally where they had never had sniper coverage. And all of a sudden they had counter sniper coverage at that event where the sniper actually happened. The first sniper, because he actually did make contact with Trump's head. And if Trump hadn't moved, he'd have got his head blown off. So even though that guy was using inferior instruments and scope and all that other stuff, yeah, he got it to his ear.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you know, we'll see how this goes down. Although I'm not too excited about them going after him for large capacity drum magazines. That's kind of bullshit, but
I think that was just target of opportunity because every individual should have large capacity drum magazines, large caliber firearms for sure. All the way up through a cannon, I think, is under the Second Amendment. It's all covered.
Yeah.
So explore your freedoms.
Yeah, so I'm with Diddy on that one. Large drum magazines, but that's pretty much it.
That's just like the gravy they got for busting them. They're there to pick up the blackmail digital video hard drives and whatnot. But the thing that the guy in the interrogation room that Lawrence said accurately was like he was the Trump hotel shooter or something like that 5 years ago, whatever. He said in there that he had videotapes of all that stuff. And that he turned them over to the lawyers and that the lawyers had accidentally sent the footage back to him. And in the interrogation, he's like, I threw it away like I was supposed to, but I might have copies of it. He's like, I could give you guys copies of it. Right. So that's also floating out there, which is another reason they might want to make Diddy go away. Just like that stuff, you know?
Yep. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I was putting some stuff in the chat there. I don't know if you guys have heard. Have you heard of the Poly Markets thing before? Poly Market. It's like this huge betting market where you can bet on like social things, political things. So they have, if you just type in, it's just polymarket.com, type in Diddy. They have a bunch of pools going for new charges on Diddy before November, release before November. Well, there's a whole bunch of them. Well,
look, they tell you the results of the election today.
I know exactly. Well, see, I think these are a little more like accurate than like a NBC poll or whatever.
Yeah, because there's money at stake.
Yeah.
Like there's real. Look, the people who run the betting markets, they probably learned how to do so outside the lines and boundaries of our moral society, ethical society, law-based society.
Yeah.
And so they do have an angle on how things actually work and what the real odds are. Because if they're wrong, they have to pay out. And when you put your money where your mouth is, that's why I think it's a excellent tactic when someone's shooting their mouth off and you know you've got the 4 aces or the royal flush or whatever. That's an interesting hypothesis. Would you be interested in a friendly wager?
Yeah.
And you can win almost every time because you're going into it knowing the right answer. Like I used to have a rule, only bet when you know the outcome ahead of time. Otherwise, that's a real gamble. But if you know what's going on better than the person you're betting with, like it's not a real struggle. And if you actually have the evidence and if someone's like, oh, there's, no president's ever made a comment about the unseen hand that controls, like, yeah, Adam Smith described it. Woodrow Wilson told you about encountering it. He's like, I've encountered that shit, bro. And they, what are we going to do about it? And they later made him president because he talked about it. They're like, shut him up, make him president. Yep. It's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
And that was one of the worst presidents in history, by the way. And he was very articulate in his speech. He must have had a good writer.
Totally. And yeah, it looks like 982, almost $1 billion betted on the presidential election so far on this website. It's crazy.
Well, and consider that the betting sites got it wrong in 2020.
There you go. That's
and then
true.
Consider for every publicly traded company on the S&P 500 that do all the song and dance, DEI, and ESG stuff and go to World Economic Forum. There's about 10 privately held companies for every one of those 500. So there's an enormous amount of private equity invested in American companies that have been watching a parabolic spike in bankruptcies of companies. And you've got one side threatening a tax on unrealized capital gains.
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't know.
shocking. And then
That sounds pretty communist, pre-crime to me.
yeah, that's a crazy one. Like nothing like inflating the currency and then charging taxes on that increase in the inflation, dude.
Well,
That's
not only that, but like back in the 2016 election, like it was Hillary Clinton 98% to Trump 2%. So if this is what they're projecting, I think the will of the people is probably not that. This is the will of people who run stuff, not the will of the people. Yeah. Make your will known peacefully and assertively and consistently and diligently and persistently. I think that's a good advice to land this flight on.
And I will say though, I just want to say something real quick. Like I don't want to encourage anybody to actually go place bets. Like don't fall into that trap. But it's a good way to like kind of just take a look at a snapshot of things when it comes to that. But please don't waste your money on that stuff, guys. Disavow.
Look, there's a time and place for games. Don't let those games take over your life because life is a bigger game that is being played, and the cost of the playing is your life. So Darwin Awards, people can do stupid stuff, people can do smart stuff. Let's stay between those two guardrails, and let's continue living so we can continue learning and understanding and loving and laughing and all the cool human things we like to do between dealing with the things that those precipitate unnecessarily on us. Like what? Like pollution. Pollution was not a big thing until a group like the Club of Rome got together and said, hey, we need a real enemy. Let's make shit so that it breaks down. It's called premature obsolescence. Let's do artificial scarcity. Let's do conspicuous consumption, where you're judged by how many pairs of shoes or jeans or whatever you are in your social. It's all engineered until you unengineer it and learn what your natural self would be like in this situation if you're not being manipulated. There you go. Twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week course. It teaches leadership, entrepreneur skills, executive skills, all these types of things that I saw were taken out of our education system in order to make the schooling or indoctrination system that we've all probably went through. And it has served us well enough to be interchangeable cogs in the machine of the globalists. But if we want a homestead, if we want write our own ticket, work from home job, work from anywhere type of situation, they're not exactly handing those out at the end of college. They give you a piece of paper and they're like, good luck. So reality is dropping us off here, but the demands of reality are up here. So I created Autonomy to help people close that gap for themselves so they can level up their skills to the demands of the situations that life is putting in front of us presently. Life's demands of intellect and understanding precision and complexity are ever increasing. The schooling didn't prepare us for it. The media is not going to do anything but reinforce what schooling prepared us for. And so we're going to have to take a leadership position and take steps off the beaten path to kind of blaze our own trail in life. What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come